Whether you're buying your first domain name or you're a regular domain investor, you need the right tools for the job. That's why you need domain tools. They can help you research the history of a domain, including who owned it and what used to be on the site. They can notify you when a domain is expiring, and they can even alert you when competitors are buying domains. DomainTools.com needs to be in your toolbox like it is in mine. Sign up for your free account on DomainTools.com today. If you're a domain name investor, don't you have unique legal needs that require technical know-how and industry experience? That's why you need David Westlow of Wiley Rein. If you watched his interview on my show, you know he can clearly explain issues and help you with buy-sell agreements, website content issues, UDRP actions, or even website terms and conditions. David Westlow is the lawyer you call for internet legal issues. See for yourself at newmediaip.com. Managing multiple domain name marketplace and auction site accounts is a pain. We all know it. Inevitably, you forget to sign into one, you lose a great domain. Now imagine using a single, simple-to-use, comprehensive control panel to manage all of your accounts. That's Protrata. With just a few clicks, you can analyze, set filters, automate your bidding, and sell your domains across all major marketplaces, including Namejet, GoDaddy, and Snapdames. You can build out websites using their customized Google-friendly templates. They also just launched a fresh new look and provide some great resources like a personal assistant named Alfred and video tutorials with tips and tricks. I've been beta testing their iPhone app, and it is slick. Get your free 14-day trial now at Protrata.com. Here's your program. Hey everyone, my name is Michael Gilmour and I'm the publisher of DomainSherpa.com, the website where you come to learn how to become a successful domain name entrepreneur directly from the experts. We've heard over the past few years, over and over again, about the death of domain name parking. What used to be a very lucrative tactic a few years ago has now dried up according to many domain name investors. But what if there were a way to actually make money parking domain names? That's the question we're going to answer today. How can a domain name investor maximize revenue from parking domain names? Joining me to answer this question is Michael Gilmour. Michael is the founder and CEO of ParkLogic, a domain name management and parking service. Michael, welcome to the show.
Hi, how you going, Michael?
Great. Michael, I hope you're up to the challenge today. I've put out quite a task for you to tell the audience how to make money with parking. You up for it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Let me tell you, parking is alive and well.
Great, and I'm glad you said that. We're going to find out in this show, and I find this particularly interesting because I've never parked a domain name in my life. So while I'm asking you the questions, I know, I'm going to be thinking about, in the back of my mind, how can I put this to work? What domains can I buy to park? How will I monetize them? What kind of return on investment can I expect to receive?
Yep.
So let's get started with this question. What are the major points that someone should know about when considering domain names to buy for parking?
Well, the number one concern is the domain has to have traffic. If it doesn't have traffic, then no parking service, I don't care who it is going to make money with that. Everything comes down to traffic because that's what the advertisers want.
Yep.
And so that's the thing,
okay,
the number one thing to look at.
The first thing needs traffic. What's the next thing?
Okay. So the next thing you need to really look at is once you've got the traffic, you've got the domain, then you need to be able to increase the click-through rate, the relevance. In other words, you need to find out what advertisers want this traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Then you need to move from there and say, great, I know that, say, games, it's games traffic, so I want to attract games type advertisers to it. Mm-hmm. So you set your keyword, but you need to set the highest paying keyword, or begin to work on the earnings per click.
Okay. So
you've got a high click-through rate because you know what the traffic wants. You then want to get the highest paying keyword.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's what it's about. You can do other things such as begin to alter the look and feel of the pages and things like that, and it will give you an even better result. But ultimately, it comes down to working on the click-through rate and also the earnings per click.
All right, got it. So we need to buy domains with traffic. We need to know how to monetize them best, where to monetize them, and then we need to make sure that we're specifying. We need to make sure that that we're monetizing them best, the highest earnings per click, and converting that traffic.
Absolutely. That's what it boils down to.
All right.
But can I just say,
yeah, please,
if I interrupt you for a second, is that get domains with traffic. I cannot emphasize that enough. Like people have said, as you said in your intro there, that maybe domain parking is dead and all that sort of stuff. The bottom line is there's more traffic around in domains than there has ever been before.
Mm-hmm. And
advertisers want the traffic. So it's a matter of trying to better match and doing some more work. Well, in the past, you may have been able to sit on the beach drinking, sipping a nice cocktail or something like that and earning your $1 squillion a year. But now you've actually got to do some work. so it's like, welcome to the real world, everyone.
Yeah. All right. We're going to dig into each of these steps that we went over. But if someone were to watch this show, Michael, you know, and they want to know if I invest the time in watching this show and listening to Michael and taking what he says to heart, and I go and do this stuff and I buy the domain names and I modify my portfolio and I have the domain names that he's recommending, what can they expect as a return on their investment? What would you expect to be a good return on investment from Park Domains?
If I didn't get a 50% return on investment, I'd be very concerned. That's the bottom line, is that you can buy portfolios now for around 2 years revenue. And there's some risk associated with that, so you make sure you know who you're buying from. You need to do some appropriate due diligence. But it's around 2 years revenue, so 50% return is what I'd be looking for.
Okay. All right, great. So, Michael, before we get into the details of this, I want to go back a little bit in your history and find out how you got to this point and how you know so much about domain name parking. So let's go back for a moment. I want to go back to about 1998. You just graduated with a master's degree in business administration, from what I understand, and you wanted to get into this thing that was coming out called the internet. And so you bought some modems and you started your own ISP. Tell me about that.
Boy, you're taking me down memory lane here. I remember that. I was actually in my marketing group in the middle of my MBA, and we had the opportunity to study photocopy paper or the internet as our marketing project. And the other guys in the groups, we all made a very important decision, and that was to study photocopy paper. And we ended up with like a high distinction for the subject. But this thing called the internet really bugged me because I'd been involved in the bulletin board systems back in the 80s and stuff. And I thought, there's something about the internet. And so I thought, well, if you want to learn something, become it. So I founded an ISP in the back room of my house.
Yeah. And
in the end, I had like a core of phone lines about that big coming, being pulled into my house, and I had a wall of modems. And every now and then, I'd bring my friends into my back room. It'd be like the Starship Enterprise. Yeah, I'd turn on the sound for the modems, so they go continuously. And I said to them, "That is the sound of a cash register." And I was getting like $5 an hour. It was like they were the days.
$5 an hour you were making at your ISP?
Yeah, and I was running out of the back room of my house. I'm thinking, how good is this?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but
so when you say $5 an hour, you're talking about $5 an hour per line, not $5 an hour across all the lines that were coming in on this bundle.
Oh no, $5 per line.
Per line,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's like every time I would turn the modem sounds on, and I go, that's the sound of a cash register. It was wonderful.
And I'm so sad that my kids are never going to have the pleasure of starting up their computer and then connecting to their 56K baud modem and hearing that beautiful sound connecting.
56, that's fast. I was doing 33.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was an interesting experience. And
so how big did you build that business, Michael? How many customers did you have?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. It's some thousands of customers.
Thousands. So what was your revenue at the end of that business?
Oh, you're asking me to remember a long time ago. I was doing. Let me think. How much? I can't even remember
No.
now. I really can't. In the end, I grew that business. We had 23 staff.
Wow.
I got some venture capital, and which was an experience in itself. If you've ever raised venture capital before, it is always an experience. And we predominantly was for developing an online advertising system, and we call it active information. And so what would happen is that the money would come in tranches.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I put my hand up one day, and the people who invested was actually Compaq Computers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I put my hand out for my next tranche of money, and they said, "Oh, look." Essentially, if you read between the lines, it was like, "Michael, we're merging with Hewlett Packard, and we're cleaning up these small investments, and your 1.6 million that you're expecting is just not going to come." And I go, "Well, we're under contract." And they said, "Well, yeah, we know, but yeah, we've got like 300 lawyers and a few $100 million worth of legal fees we've allocated to deal with this sort of stuff. So, nah, it's not coming." And I looked around, and the business model was run, because research, a lot of it was research, was to run down the cash down to zero, and then you put your hand out for the next bit of money expecting,
Right.
and so forth, until you commercialize the product. And so I try to fill a $1.6 million hole in a few weeks. Pretty difficult.
Yeah.
And so I had to close that business. I must admit, I just about lost my house.
Wow.
In that process, it was not a pretty situation.
What year was that roughly, Michael?
Was it 2000, 2001? So it was just after the Sydney Olympics. Yeah.
Okay.
It was roundabout
So you
then.
had thousands of customers, each of which, every time they connected to the internet, they were paying you $5 an hour. So you had a good amount of revenue. You know, I can't count the number of entrepreneurs that I've spoken to in the past who built up their wealth in ISPs. You know, it was amazing how ISPs grew, how much money, how much cash they threw off, and then a lot of them got acquired. You didn't necessarily have that exit. When you concluded the business, you were completely out of money?
Yeah. So all of essentially what happened was, when we got the investment in, the ISP became less and less of a focus, because it began to get commoditized that time.
I got it.
And so you weren't getting $5 an hour or something like that. In the end, it wasn't an hourly rate; it was a fixed fee per month and all that sort of stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So the money was put in predominantly for an online advertising system. So I cut my teeth on that. And then the process, I became the vice chairman of the Australian Internet Industry Association.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I headed up the online task force for setting the standards for the whole country. I was the chairman of that, and so I learned a lot about online advertising and so forth, and during that period of time, and it was very difficult. So when you have a research project and you run your cash down and you expect the next cash to come in, you have nowhere to move.
Right.
And we had to close that business and everything. And there were some other smaller investors that got caught out and everything, which is not a pretty scene. But it was great. Years later, those same small investors did some further investments with me, because they said, "Look, Michael, is this one of those things that happen in business, and no one could do anything?" Yeah. So that was nice, I must admit, because you wonder what people think.
Yeah. No, definitely. And so at the end of that period of your professional career, you found yourself without your company, without a savings nest egg, almost without your house, without a job. But I read you had $100 to your name.
Yeah. No. Well, just to be clear on that, it took us quite some time to save up that $100.